Welcome, everyone. Here we are again in our home, first day of spring. Thanks so much for joining us. We're excited to be here for our extract making workshop today. We've got a number of extracts that we're going to be going through today, and we're really excited to jump in. A big welcome to the new people that are joining us for the first time, all of our Club Be Pura members that are here with us, that are sort of the regulars. We just love having you, and we're excited to interact with you, to talk with you during Zoom, to answer your questions, and to have like a real fun interactive hour of extract making today.
Yep.
So we're going to jump in. We're going to be making our banana vanilla extract today. And all of our extracts, we're on like this journey where we want to make with all of you every single extract that is in our book, The Art of Extract Making. That's why we started all this. And so we've gone through many. We started back in November, and we're going to wrap up. We're going to try to wrap up all 40 recipes this year. It's going to be close. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. So today we're going to be going over our banana vanilla extract, which we're excited about for the first time. But then we have some change outs that we're going to be making. We've got to do a change out of our winter spice extract that we made back in November. So there's some updates we have to do to that extract now. We're going to go through our pecan extract, and we've got a change out that we've got to do there that we started 3 months ago. That was January. I guess that would have been January. And then we have a change out that we have to do with the fresh oranges that we use in our orange cacao vanilla extract that we started last month. So lots of things. So it's going to be 4 extracts. We're going to spend a lot of time on bananas, and then we're going to spend a little time on the change outs. We're going to answer your questions. Those of you that are following along and making the extracts yourselves, it's a super fun journey. And we are just so glad that we have like friends that are doing this with us, right?
Yes, and if you're brand new and this is your first time with us, I know we have some people who are brand new that have found us on Eventbrite. Don't be overwhelmed, because it sounds like a lot right now, but we'll go through each step. You know, the vanilla will be from the very first step, so you can follow along there, and then you can kind of get an idea of what extract is about, and how long it takes, and the different processes of the change outs that make these extracts amazing.
Awesome. So let's jump right in.
Okay.
So if you've got our book, we're on page 104 of our book. We're going to do the very first steps of our banana vanilla extract. And you'll notice, obviously, the theme in our book is there's a vanilla bean in just about everything we do, right?
Yes, and here's the thing also, that if you just want banana, you can leave the vanilla out. I don't know why you want to do that, because I'm crazy about vanilla. But if you just want the banana, or you just want orange or pecan, you're welcome to leave the vanilla out. That's up to you. It's an art.
It's an art. We
Extracting
like vanilla
is an art.
because vanilla as a binder brings the vodka. It adds like a smoothness between the vodka or the spirit that you're using and whatever it is that you're extracting. So we're fans, but it's all up to you as you dive in. So let's dive in.
Okay,
banana
so
extract. Here we go.
Really is like a super, super easy extract. It only has 3 ingredients. We've got 1 pompona bean from Peru. This is a Rioja. Check that baby out. It is huge. When we slice into that, there's going to be just so much caviar that's going to go into your extract. And it's such a wonderful flavor. It already has kind of this big banana flavor to it. So it adds just so much to the bananas. It's wonderful.
Pompona beans with bananas, as well as Ugandan beans, are a great choice because they have that figgy, banana-y undertone. And they're all different sizes. Everyone's like, well, it's all pompona that size. No, the Peruvian pompona are the biggest that we offer. When you get to the Mexican pompona, they're a lot smaller. We have, and nobody knows this yet, but we have a Ugandan pompona that we're going to get our first samples of here in the next 2 weeks or so, that we're really hopeful that we can introduce to you soon. But they're all going to be a little smaller than the Rioja, than the Peruvian pompona.
Yeah, but they're all a little fatter.
But they're all fatter. They all have more caviar. And again, that's why we sell by weight and not bean count. So if you get an ounce of Rioja and an ounce of Mexican Oaxaca pompona beans, you're always getting the same amount. But it's a beautiful bean and a fun one to work with, for sure. We always smile when we're playing around with the Peruvian pompona beans.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with the first ingredient, is this pompona bean. I'm going to cut it just down the middle. And then I'm going to cut it in thirds just so it fits really nicely into my jar. Now, if you want to get the caviar out, you could open it up and then slide your knife through. But as this extracts and the vodka starts to infuse, the pods are just going to come out on their own. So I don't really bother with that step anymore.
We love the caviar, right?
Oh.
We love like a extract with a bunch of caviar at the bottom. We shake it up and we use it because we love the vanilla specks. But maybe before you put that last one in, open it up under the camera.
Oh, so you can see, definitely.
The pump on it, because it's so much fun. It's, you know, it sticks to your fingers.
Yeah, here, and I will scrape just so you can kind of see.
Yeah, they're a wonderful bean to play around with, and they give
all of that caviar there, and I've lost some of it here. I don't want to waste any of it.
So you get lots of uses out of these beans. In addition to them as a sweetener with the extract, you've got the caviar that we can play with later, and then all the things that we do with our beans when we're done with the extract.
Yes, and I've made a strawberry liqueur with these beans and added it to lemonade for a nice little refreshing Easter drink or something in the summer. These beans you can just add to so many things.
The speckles in little cocktails have actually been quite fun. People love them.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Another thing that can be used.
Yep. So just one bean. That's a very large bean. So you know, we don't need any more beans. This is kind of more of a binder than this is banana forward. And then the vanilla acts as a binder to add that the smoothness like Paul was talking about. Okay, so we've got our vanilla, and now we've got 1 ounce of dehydrated bananas. Now you can use dehydrated. Did I just say dehydrated?
You did. Freeze dried.
Freeze dried. Sorry. You can use freeze dried or dehydrated. Both will work. Some of them are it's just a little bit different.
Yeah. So the difference really between freeze-dried and dehydrated, there's a couple of big ones. So one, when you freeze-dry bananas, you're not applying any heat. And so the benefit of freeze-drying is that it preserves a lot of the flavor compounds that are inside the banana and takes almost all the moisture out. So that's one of the pros of freeze-dried bananas. They're super dry. They break when you drop them. So when they arrive, they're crumbly, which is just fine. They're still bananas. Even if there's crumbs, they can still be extracted as long as, you know, you're weighing them like what we're going to talk about here. It's not about volume, it's about weight. And so in terms of using freeze dry and extract, we love it because it to us seems like it's the closest to like a natural vanilla taste. Now, dehydrated also works, but with dehydrated, you're applying sometimes a little more heat. Anytime you apply heat to a process, you're going to change the flavor compounds just a little bit. The other challenge with dehydrated is it doesn't pull as much moisture out as freeze-dried. And that's why the dehydrated chips, they might bend a little bit, or they could still be crunchy, but they kind of hold their form a little bit more. There's just still a little bit of moisture inside of them that doesn't exist on the freeze-dry side. And so, but they also work, but because there's a little more moisture, you just want to make sure that you're starting with an alcohol that has an alcohol content of, say, at least 40%, because you're going to introduce moisture from the dehydrated products into the alcohol. It's going to dilute it a little bit. And you'll remember, all of you pros that are here, and for the new people that aren't, we always want to make sure that our alcohol content when we're extracting is at the very least 35%, and at the very most 50%, which is 70 proof to 100 proof. So anytime you're using dehydrated instead of freeze-dried, you're introducing just a little bit more moisture than you would with freeze-dried. So you just want to make sure that you're using, you know, you're starting at like a 40%. If you're starting at a 35, you might dip, or you will dip below that 35% mark when you dilute it with the moisture from the fruit. So that's the back and forth. Is there a huge difference? I don't know, for extract making that we've seen. Like, we've made them with both dehydrated and freeze-dried. I don't know that there's a significant difference, but we tend to like freeze-dried just because heat isn't used and they're drier. And so you have more flexibility with the alcohol. You're not worried about dilution rate. It's just kind of a little easier to manage. But the downside of freeze-dried, they crumble, they get turned into powder. They're really kind of hard to maintain. You put them in a can, they still break. Put them in a bag, they break. But those crumbs are still bananas, and they can still be extracted. And then when you get rid of them, you just pour it through a coffee filter, and it'll all come out anyway.
Yeah, and there's also a price difference as well.
Yes.
The freeze-dried is more expensive, and I know a lot of people will have dehydrators in their home or dehydrate fruit, and it's a lot more affordable. And so if you have the ability to do that, you know, it saves you money.
It does. So both are great. Use dehydrated. If you've got dehydrated, just remember that alcohol content. Your head start at least 40%, so you're not going to dilute everything too much. Right?
And the average vodka out there is 40%. So it's not like you have to go searching. You know, just make sure when you find it, look on the bottle, and you know, like we're using this Kettle One today. Right. Yep. And it's it'll save.
It says, I think right on the front down here, there it is.
40% right there. But the average vodka does have 40%. So it's not going to be hard to find.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our tangent on freeze-dried versus dehydrated, because that's a question that comes up all the time.
In our group, a lot of people will ask that. So we want to make sure we go over that. Okay, so we talked about weighing these because these are freeze-dried. Like we said, they can become very crumbly. So you want to make sure that you're getting the same amount. So this right here, I have in a bowl, and I've got a 1 cup measurement because I want you to see you know, how much 1 ounce actually really is. So I'm going to zero out my scale here, and I'm just going to put these in. This is about 1 ounce, but it's not quite a cup, right? So you want to make sure that you're going to weigh it, because it's volume versus weight. You need to make sure that you're getting an actual 1 ounce instead of 1 cup volume.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just going to take these and pour these into our jar. And then the last thing is we're going to add just 8 ounces of this Kettle One vodka. It is a middle of the shelf vodka. It's a national brand. You can find this just about anywhere. And it's good, middle of the road, don't you think?
Yeah, you know, we have all these things. If you go to our website, we have a top 10 list of our top 10 favorite vodkas, rums, bourbons, alcohol generally, whiskeys. We're going to add one for brandy. We may add one for tequila, because more and more people are using tequila. But broadly speaking, your first time going to a liquor store, you don't have to go to the top shelf. Yeah, but we always say, you know, be careful of the bottom shelf, because we've had bad experiences with bourbon on the bottom shelf. Middle of the shelf stuff is fine. Kettle One, super affordable, great vodka. Tito's is a popular one. Kirtland out of Costco is a fantastic vodka, and you can get, you know, 750 milliliters for like, you know, $13 or $18. So
yeah, that's nice.
Good vodka.
Yeah,
this is a good vodka. We like Kettle One.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to pour in my 8 ounces of vodka. Now they're kind of sticking out of the top. I have this fermentation weight that I like to use to kind of push things down. If you're using a mason jar, they fit perfectly in here. They sell these on Amazon. You can find them, I think, at Walmart. But you kind of just push that in, and then it pushes everything down to the bottom. Now, if you don't have a fermentation weight, it's okay. Once the vodka gets absorbed into the bananas, they'll start to sink. And, you know, you might have a few pieces poking out of the top, but for the most part, you're just going to be fine. Also, if you use a smaller neck of a jar, there's less surface area for it to poke up. So if you don't have a fermentation weight, you can always just use a smaller neck, and there won't be, you know, an area for it to pop up.
Yeah, and another benefit, if you're using freeze dry, you can crack the product. So if they're not fitting in the small neck, you can just crack them in half, like in the case of the bananas. It'll all go down there, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
The other question people ask is, well, in the time that it's floating on top, is it going to mold? And with the freeze dried and dehydrated, they both do this. They really absorb the alcohol quickly. So no, they're going to absorb that alcohol. They're going to start sinking. We've never had an instance where we've had mold form on any of our fruit that's been floating on top as it's waiting to go down. They don't go bad. There's just so much alcohol in the vodka that you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, so I did want to show you this. This is a banana extract that I started at the beginning of January. I always like to put my start date on the bottom of the jar. And then this was made with Madagascar and Svedka vodka. And then it will be ready on the 3rd of April. But I wanted you to kind of see what it looks like. This will be changed out in about, you know, a few more weeks. You can see the vanilla beans in there. But when I shake it like this, nothing is poking out anymore. But when I first put it in, it kind of floated to the top. So just give it time and it'll be just fine.
And just, it's interesting just to see, this is what you're going to see, you know, as you get towards the end. So these banana chips were just put in at the beginning of, this was our last change out. These were put in at the beginning of the month. We're gonna pull them out in April and we'll be done. And that's sort of the color that you're gonna get and what you're looking for. And the smell already is
You
pretty
can
nice.
see all the little,
The caviar.
the caviar flecks in it.
Yep. So that's what you'll be getting at. It's not like the prettiest extract of them all. Not that there is any such thing as not a pretty extract. There's no such.
Oh, it'll be
They're
beautiful.
all beautiful. But the colors on this one, it's not like the dark, rich amber. It's kind of got, you know, like a grayish color that's a little different from the other extracts.
Well, and when you can put this through a coffee filter, and all of the little, you know, there's little fibers come off of the banana. So if you put it through a coffee filter, it'll be completely clear if that's what you're looking for. But it will get out some of those vanilla specks too.
Yeah, and we like the vanilla specks, and we like the oils and everything that are in, you know, that color. It's fine. Yeah. There's no such thing as an ugly extract. I said that wrong.
You kind of did.
I kind of did. There's no
goodness.
such thing as an ugly extract. It's like your children.
Yeah.
Every child. Is that another bad example? I'm
I
batting
think
1,000.
so.
Oh no. Edit.
We love our children equally.
They're equally beautiful.
Well, on that note.
On that note, let's see if there's any questions from the crowd. Are there any questions that we can answer about the banana extract? Go ahead.
Also, if you made this, what have you put in it? What have you added to it? What have you baked with it? Have you had any problems with it that you had to kind of troubleshoot? We want to know it all.
Sure. Our favorite use is obviously banana bread, which is like, our boys love banana bread. So that's the go-to natural use for our banana extract that we just can't get enough of, right? But go ahead, Did. Are there any questions or comments?
Well, you know, I think you must have done a good job of answering all the questions along the way. None have come in just yet, but
Awesome. We
Oh,
have been
yeah,
listening.
hang on.
We've had our ear to the ground on a lot of
Yeah.
these questions in our group, so I'm glad that that's the case.
yeah, Constance has just asked a question here. How many change outs do you anticipate to get a good strong banana extract?
3, right? Is it 3? 3
Yep.
that we're doing on the. I've got all 3 of these in my head. I was thinking
Yep.
pecan, but 3 change outs of the banana.
Yeah, 3 change outs. And, you know, when we first started doing this, we would like to do taste tests after each month. We knew after 1 month it wouldn't be ready, but it was kind of a fun experiment for us to taste the process between each change out. If it's not strong enough for you and you would like it even more, you can continue to change out. And that's why it's important to kind of taste test each change out, because, you know, again, it's pricey if you're using freeze-dried bananas. And if you've got so many change outs, you know, you want to make sure that it's worth it, right?
Absolutely. And then we will, like on this one, next month in our next class, that's on April 16th, we'll bring back the banana and we're going to do our first change out. So you can see how that happens, how we manage like the absorption of the alcohol, because that happens. All these different things we're going to go through. And so you'll watch the life of this extract and all the others that we're making from start to finish. So come back next month and we'll show you how to do the first. And then every extract is different from the other. So like you said, if you like it after 2, you're done.
Yeah.
If you don't like it after 3 and you want to go another round, go another round.
Yep.
Totally. Great question.
Okay, so the last thing is organizing.
I think
Oh,
Did had one
sorry.
more question. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say that was actually Connie asking that question, and she says, thank you so much. And
Oh, thank you, Connie. Glad you could make it.
yeah, and we've got a couple of people saying banana pudding. They like to use their banana extract
Oh,
in.
Yes.
And cream pie, banana cream pie.
For
Mhm.
sure. Ice creams and I mean, any of those sort of fruit-based, cream-based desserts, they're fantastic.
Yep.
So, okay. So
Okay,
now it's
so,
sticker time, right?
Yep. So this is something that's really important with extracting, is just the organization of it, trying to keep track. In the back of our book, we have a place to write your recipes. There's a journal back there, several pages. So you can write things down. I use masking tape because I hate stickers. And this comes on and off the jars very easily, especially when you have change outs. You're pulling things off, putting them back on. So I believe that, you know, not everything has to be pretty in the beginning. If you want to decant this into a pretty jar when it's finished and put pretty labels on and then gift it, you're welcome to. But when I'm busy, I just need to know what step I'm on and have it be easy. So this masking tape is so easy. So I'm going to write right here. I've got my change out. So I know I can just look at it very quickly and I can see, okay, I need to do something here in April 19th. I need to do another change out of bananas. I also like to write the number, the page number of the book, so I don't have to go looking for it. I just can open it really quickly. It's just something I like to do. And then also the date I start always goes on the bottom. I never have to change that. And so now I just put this in a cupboard that's cool and dark, and I let it do its thing.
Yep.
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy. You make it look easy.
It is easy. Let's not lie.
And I know that's what got us into this mess, right? It's easy to do one. It's really hard when you have like 100, and then keeping them all organized becomes actually the challenge of extract making. Each individual one isn't too hard, but all of a sudden you've got a cabinet full of so many flavors, and it's how do you organize them? So on our website, and you go to the extract making section of Vanilla Pura, there's all those free guides. Towards the bottom, I think there's a free journal, so you can just print it out. It's in PDF, and so you can grab it, print out as many pages as you want, because you do forget. We had this as we were preparing for this live. We forget what vodkas we used. And then if we need to top off, then that is like, well, what vodka would we use for this one? And so that would be like another sticker, but if you had stickers for everything, it wouldn't fit on the jar. So at some point, if you need a journal, we've got it for you. It's free. It's in the back of our book as well. There's a bunch of free journal pages. And the one that's on our website is like the one in the back of the book.
Yeah.
So,
and if I just go along with the recipe in the book, I don't feel like I have to put too much on because I'm just following that recipe. But if you make any changes, like you want to wait longer, or you want to put more banana in, or you want to put more vanilla in, you'll want to make that note, because you won't remember what you did, and it'll be fabulous, and you won't be able to recreate it. That happens all the time.
There we go. Love it. Okay, so that's banana extract. So come back next month and we'll do our first change out. We'll show you how that works, what to do with absorption, all those other things we'll talk about when we get into the next month. So should we jump to the next one?
Yeah.
So you'll recall one of the very first parties that we had, or workshops that we had, was all the way back in November. Maybe this one was even October. I can't recall. But we made our the winter spice extract, which is, vanilla beans and star anise and allspice and all these wonderful flavors, cinnamon. And so it's time for us to do our very last change out of the winter spice.
Yep.
Right?
We've already taken the cinnamon out, and so we have the last step, and then we're going to let it go until November, and it will be ready. Now, my date is on the bottom that I started, so I know I always can remember when it started. And then I've got change out now, so I'm just going to take this sticker off. Easy, just like that. There's really hard nothing there. It just makes it so easy. And then I love this jar. I just think it's kind of fun, but it does take a little time to get it out. You got to do some shaking. I'm going to take that lid off just for a second to make it easier. But there's just some shaking to do. The vanilla comes out quite easy. And you can also use, I've got these long tweezers that we can use to pull stuff out. See, some of these are tied and some are cut. We did that so we can save the caviar or the seeds inside to use later for recipes where we want to actually see the caviar. But when you tie them, sometimes it makes it just a little bit harder to get out. And so these tweezers kind of come in handy.
By the way, the smell as soon as you open that
smells like Christmas.
It's Christmas. Our whole kitchen is, I wish there was like a smell feature of Zoom where we could just pass it through, because our whole kitchen smells like Christmas right now.
Yep.
We use this in our cinnamon rolls this year, and it changed everything. It's like our boys' favorite now.
Yeah, they have to have it. I put it in the frosting.
Yeah.
And now it's the favorite, and the whole family, my mother, sisters, everybody is, they love the the winter spice now.
They
So-
all love it, and now
Okay.
the kitchen smells like it. So we're
Yep.
gonna have to make cinnamon rolls.
I actually doubled this recipe. Instead of making 8 ounces, I doubled it to make 16 ounces because 8 is not enough to get through a season for us. What is, it's also a fun idea to gift some of these specialty extracts. Like, if you make cinnamon rolls for someone, you can include just a small little bottle with the extract. And it's so unique. It's not, it's not something you get every day. And then they can make their own cinnamon rolls or put it in their coffee or their tea. It's just a fun, unique gift.
It is.
Okay, so all we're gonna do here is we're putting the beans back into the jar. I'm not washing it because it's had the alcohol in there, and I don't want to get rid of any of those specks. I love that. So I'm just gonna put all these back in.
Yeah, some people like to wash it out for the specs. We don't. We're like, let's keep it in. Oh, you can see there's the star anise in there, the allspice. So
It
really, at
smells
this point, we're just
so
picking out
good.
the vanilla beans, and we're gonna leave all the other spices out, and then we'll refill it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna use my fingers here. I washed my hands, I promise. And it's going back into alcohol, so even better, right? I'm going to use my fingers because for time purposes here, and how interesting is it for you to just watch me keep putting these in, right? So, oh my goodness, that smells so, so good. So all I have left in here is some cloves, not cloves, sorry, allspice berries, star anise, and I've got crushed nutmeg in here.
Crushed nutmeg. And then, the harder the ingredient, they all absorb the alcohol a little bit. And so it's nice just kind of letting them sit and drip for a minute to get as much of the alcohol out as you can. You can't really press the alcohol out of the harder ingredients like the allspice or the nutmeg. They just, this is the same when you do like coffee and cacao. It's hard to press it out. You just kind of let it drip and you let as much of it come out as you can, right?
Yeah, I kind of just put it in here and walk away for a little bit and let gravity do its own thing. I've got just this left now. You can grind this down and have this wonderful spice mix to put in your baked goods or, coffee, tea. We never waste anything around here. We always try and find a use for it.
Yep. Of all of the things that are in the winter spice, the ingredients that absorb the vanilla or the alcohol the most are the vanilla beans. And so they're pretty full. And you can see like there's even this little bit of alcohol at the bottom. They're dripping. They absorb the most, which is great because we're putting the alcohol right back in. Of course, like all the other extracts, if you find that you're a little short on alcohol and you want to top it off just a little bit, you can certainly top it off at this point. It's not going to set you back. Typically, it's a small amount that you're adding, and you'll be just fine if topping it off is what you want to do.
How much liquid have we really lost? So I am at 1 2/3. So I've lost about, just a third. And really not too much, but I can, if I want. Can you put that over there, loves? I don't want to waste that.
Yeah.
I can add another third vodka, third cup to this. This is going to go until November. So there's no worry about adding just a little bit more vodka to get my 16 ounces at this point. And then also, if I add a little more, I could probably get some of that caviar out of there too.
Totally.
So let's add just
splash in.
1/3. Yes. I'll tell you when you stop. Okay. And so I kind of swish that around and I can get a lot of that out.
There we go.
And there you go. I've got 16 ounces to wait until November.
So now we wait until November. And at this point, and I want to bring this point up again because we brought it up in the last workshop that we did, and there's been a lot of discussion about it, but I think it's such a cool point. And it's this. So what we're waiting on now, the reason that our winter spice isn't finished is because we're waiting on those brand new vanilla beans that we put in back in November. We're waiting for them to now extract. So the vanilla beans are always the thing that, and I say the word always, I don't think I'm wrong. I'm trying to think of an example of something else that takes as long to extract, but really it's the vanilla is always the longest thing to extract. So I mentioned this, I'm going to mention it one more time, and I won't say this a lot in every future workshop, but a lot of people are commenting in our group now that they're using their mother jar extracts or their Madagascar or Mexican or whatever extracts that they've already got completed, and they're starting their multi-ingredient extract with a finished extract. Because had we begun back in November, our winter spice, had we begun with finished vanilla extract, we'd be done right now. We'd have finished winter spice. We wouldn't have to wait all the way until November for the vanilla to do its thing, because we would have started with the vanilla. Now, we haven't done any experiments of that yet. We're gonna do some experiments of that so we can see exactly how it turns out. But generally speaking, conceptually, if you made your extract correctly, then your extract's gonna have 35%, 40% alcohol. And if you begin with that, it's gonna extract the cinnamon, it's gonna extract the spices, and then your winter spice extract and the other multi-ingredient extracts are done right now, instead of waiting all the way until November. So we're going to do our own experiments to confirm, but we think that that is a really cool thought and one of the best practices that's being shared in our group right now.
Yeah, we're always learning new things from other people who are extracting. It's a wonderful environment to build on each other. I don't think we can really learn unless we're in a space where we're listening to other people kind of doing the same things we're doing.
Totally.
Right?
That's our group. That's what we do.
I know.
We're playing. We're plugging and playing.
It is. It feels like playing. We enjoy it.
So are there any questions? Did you have anything else?
No, I just added the new step onto the jar. It says taste test in November. It also has the page number, and then again at the bottom, my original date. So this also goes into the cupboard, cool, dark place, and I just kind of leave it there. I'll check in on it ever so often. And if you want, go in and do a taste test ever so often and see if you can tell the difference between, that vanilla coming a little bit more forward as the time goes by.
Love it. So we've got like 20-ish minutes left, 25 minutes left, and we've got 2 more extracts that we've got to get through, but I want to make sure we answer any questions. Were there any questions in that segment, or do we keep moving forward, Div?
I think we're all good. We've just got some people saying that they're experimenting with using different vanilla extracts. And yeah, I guess they'll
I love it. So
who
who said that they're doing some of those experiments, starting with the vanilla extract?
So we've got Nancy.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I think that was Ruth Ann.
Ruth Ann's doing it. Nancy's doing it.
Yeah, and Connie too.
Connie's doing it as well. Keep us updated. Post in our group how it's coming along. Like, we'd love to follow along. We're going to start ours here pretty quickly as well, and see if that idea kind of holds true. We think it will, and we think it's a great idea. I mean, you could start your holiday extracts in the summer, and they're ready with the cinnamon and the other things by the holidays. I mean, if you've got mother jars, as most people in our group have, it is the perfect use of a mother jar to get your multi-ingredient extracts rolling. So we really want to get people trying that to see if that's the case, because we just got 6 months off our extract time.
Sure, but a mother jar takes more space too. So depending on if you have the space or you find the space,
there's
right?
always room for another mother jar. There's always room for one more.
No, we have vanilla everywhere. It's just nuts.
We do. Speaking of nuts, good segue.
Speaking of nuts.
So we do some pecan extract.
Yes.
Almost like you planned that. That was
kind of
beautiful. Wow.
Okay, so this is our pecan extract. We're going to go a little quick because we got a little wordy.
Yes.
Anyways, it's been 3 months. My date on the bottom says 12/19. And so it's time to take out this ounce of pecans and then add a new batch in, and it will wait another 3 months. And so we're just going to pour it into this.
And then you'll see that she's doing that. The Congo vanilla beans, we used Congo vanilla beans. They have kind of a Mediterranean fruit taste. And coupled with a nut extract, we thought that was a lot of fun. And so we think that those two together are really good. So the vanilla beans are in there. Again, the idea here is that this is pecan forward, not vanilla forward. The vanilla is used as a binder because it softens and sweetens, which we love. But what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get all of that pecan goodness out of the nuts.
Yes, and something that's important here is that you know, a lot of people are allergic to pecans or nuts. Paul is one of them. And so when I make something like this, it's usually for something else that he's not at, or I'll put it just in my coffee. So you want to make sure that you're not cross-contaminating some of your extracts, just in case you use an extract that's not supposed to have nuts, but there's some cross-contamination. So I'm trying to be very careful of not to get any pecan stuff over there by you.
Yeah, nut allergies are the worst.
It is.
They are the worst.
There's so many things I grew up eating that we don't. I'll make it for my family, but when it's just at home, we have to stick to the nuts that he can eat.
But of all of the extracts that I've smelled, this pecan extract is definitely one.
Wow, it is wonderful.
It is wonderful.
He can smell it, but that's about it. So usually what I do is I'll let this kind of just sit in here and let gravity again do its job. And then what I do is I kind of just let it out here on a cookie sheet to dry. And then you can toast this. You could make this into a candy pecan that you add onto salads. I can't wait until spring, summer. That would be the perfect addition. You can put this over brie. Or you could powder it and just add it to some of your baked goods to add, that pecan nutty flavor. So never waste any of the ingredients.
Never. And surprisingly, as I'm looking at the alcohol level, it has not absorbed much of the alcohol. We still have almost, just a hair shy.
I'm not going to add any.
I don't think we add any in because we've got the full 8 ounces. But look at the color of the extract. I think everyone can see it.
It's like a cognac.
It's beautiful. It's all the oils from the nuts have been extracted just the same way that vanilla extract works.
Yeah, it's pretty brown.
It's beautiful. We've gotten all the flavor out of them, and now we're going to double the amount of flavor by putting it in. And again, as a reminder, this took 3 months to get the first batch.
Yeah.
And then we're going to let the second one go also for 3 months. And then, as we always say, if at the end of the second 3 months after you taste test, if you want more pecan, go another 3 months. Add fresh pecans, do another 3 months, and until you find a sweet spot to you.
Well, and every recipes are unique in that what you want in your recipe isn't necessarily what someone else wants. So you might want, it to be even more vanilla-y, so more vanilla forward. So you add more vanilla beans and you wait longer to get the extract of the vanilla out. Or you might just be fine with exactly how this recipe is. We are.
Well, you are.
Yeah. Yes,
I hear
that's true. I
hear it's wonderful.
It is wonderful. Okay, so whoops. I'm just going to add real quickly into my jar here my pecans, my fresh pecans. And then I'm going to add back my 1 ounce of
8 ounces.
Sorry, 8 ounces, 1 cup.
There you go.
And you can see that they're kind of floating at the top. Again, once these are absorbed, they're going to go down. And you can also use a fermentation weight if you want. But I'm telling you, over time, they'll sink and you'll be just fine.
There you go.
That was easy, wasn't it?
That's an easy one, right? Pecan extract. Are there any comments, questions at this point before we jump into our last extract?
No questions. All good on that front. Leslie,
everyone's following along. Okay,
we're doing good. Leslie did comment that I think she's trying 2 pecan extracts, one that takes a year long and one that maybe is a little less. So she's going to taste test them both, and hopefully she'll let us know which is her favorite.
Please do. Yes,
that'll be fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, I forgot. We need to change out our notes on the bottom here.
Oh yes.
To make sure and we need to add the next step, and the next step is to taste test in June to see how it tastes, right? I also want to show you that, I kind of spilled on this. The great thing is I can wipe that off on the masking tape. It comes right off. I just love masking tape. It's just wonderful. Yep. And so now I know this is the one I started with the live.
Yep.
And I don't get that mixed up with the bajillion other extracts that I have, because I have gotten them mixed up.
We are, and I think lots of you are probably to the same point, but we're to the point now where we recognize and accept we will probably never use all of the extracts in their entirety that we have created. However, we have so many flavors, we get the option to use, we have 50 different flavor combinations. So depending on what we're cooking, it's like we have this whole other level of like creativity that we can play with. And so now instead of having one extract that just drains quickly, we have 100 extracts that are all draining very slowly.
Well, it's if you're, our family and friends, you're going to get some sort of extract for a gift.
We give them out liberally.
Well, and we have a little bartering system. My niece, will cut my boy's hair and she is paid with extract.
Exactly.
So, we do a little bartering around here as well.
Yeah, extracts are going to be the new Bitcoin. You watch. I'm telling you, everybody will have extracts in their wallets, and that's the new Bitcoin. And you go down and buy a car with extracts. But that's what we do, is because we now have all these different flavors, and they're just kind of slowly, each one of them, the levels dropping versus one or two where we were just using it so fast.
Yeah.
And so now we can wait and have the right application for the right thing. I'm excited about this extract. There's been a lot of chatter about our fresh fruit extract. This one specifically that we made in our last live. It was just a month ago. Watch the video we go deep into fresh fruit, why we're using it. The orange juice that we squeezed into the 195 proof Everclear to dilute it and to get the alcohol content down to below 50%. With the addition of cacao and vanilla, we have been cracking this thing open because it's one of our favorites that we always make. And we have been cracking this thing open and smelling the progress regularly because it's just one of our favorites. We love this extract.
It is so good.
Yeah.
I'm going to wash my hands just real quick to get any pecan stuff off my hands so there's no contamination.
And so while she's doing it, and I'm sure you guys all do this, right? Like we have extracts that we're constantly working on, and we walk by, and it's like anytime we walk by, we crack them open, and we do like these impromptu smell tests. And this one has just been coming along beautifully. I love it. It's super sweet. What I get when I'm smelling it is the orange more than anything. So I get a super sweet orange, and then do you smell the cacao? The cacao is like right behind it, and it reminds me of like the orange chocolate things at Christmas time again.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like orange and chocolate together is just wonderful. So this one, I'm excited to move on to the next step because this is one of my favorite extracts. I love it. So what are we doing today? Today it's month one.
Well, this is the one that we did. We added Everclear to this.
Right.
Because, we added those fresh oranges. So it's time for us to take the fresh oranges out. We're doing that because we threw the whole thing in there, juice, the pith, all of it. And so we're going to take that out. Sometimes the pith can be bitter. And so that's why we're only leaving it in for 1 month. All the zest, and when I get all this out, I'll show you the zest that we put. It's still on the bottom, and I wanted to keep it there until I got through this process of getting out the fresh oranges, and then we'll mix it all up. So I don't really want to strain this. I'm kind of just going to pick out the oranges because I want to be able to leave all of the seeds from the vanilla as well as the zest that I zested in here in the beginning. So I'm just kind of picking through here. I just really love these chopsticks, or not chopsticks, but tweezers. Yeah. It just really makes it quite easy. Now, see, you can kind of see pieces of the orange. I'm pulling those out too. And when you finish all of this, you can put it through a filter to get, those big, maybe some of the pulp that's come off.
So really
a strainer.
Yeah, while you're doing that. So what the goal is here, and she mentioned it, is that the pith, the white on the inside of the peel, over time can cause bitterness. And so what we're trying to do now is pull out all of those whole pills that we put in. They've been there for a month. The juice has all been removed. The alcohol content, we added all of that orange juice to the alcohol. So the alcohol content's been diluted. The beans are extracting nicely. They're not getting ruined. Like if you just put a vanilla bean in Everclear without any dilution, it will ruin the bean. We're seeing just the opposite. We're seeing a nice color. And then the cocoa nibs as well are being extracted really, really well. So all the ingredients, what we're getting in our smell test is that all of the ingredients are playing really well together. But all the ingredients right now are playing really, really well together. They're cohesive. It smells nice. We don't want to mix that up. We're going to leave as much of the orange in there as we can. But our goal here is to remove the peels that have the pith And then we'll cap it off and we'll continue extracting the next round of ingredients.
Yep. So
and there were quite a few orange peels in there, right? To get as many in, you'll remember to get them all fit in the jar, we had to cut them all up and really smash them down, get all the juice out of each one of them, which we've done. And then now we got to pull them out. And we had to cut them into small pieces so they all fit into the jar, right?
Yep. So I've got maybe one piece here left on the edge.
There we go.
Maybe just one little piece there.
Got it. Now, you'll see she's putting it in the strainer because the orange, the parts of the orange that, are still there, they've absorbed a ton of the alcohol. And so the next step here is we'll be pressing all of that juice out of those oranges and putting it back in, correct?
Yep. And, there's some hiding here down.
This is like watching one of those old clown cars where all those clowns are getting out of that tiny little VW and you're like, how many more oranges can we pull out of that little jar? Look at all these oranges.
I know. I had to push those down. I got some muscles from doing it.
There you go.
Okay, so, oh my gosh, now you can really smell it. I'm going to just stir this all together so you can see the cacao and you can also see the orange zest in there. When this is done, you can use the cacao and the orange zest for, you can ground it up again. You can put it over the top of some muffins. None of this will be wasted.
No, and the reason that we're using the tweezers, I think this is an important point. Why are we doing that instead of just dumping it all out? We're trying to leave all the zest. We're trying to leave all these things that you can't really filter out. And so in this case, we're using like a scalpel instead of a hatchet because we want all of the non-pith, like the zest and all that orange goodness, to stay through the next round of extraction of what we're doing.
And all of my caviar, my vanilla specks.
Yeah, so we don't want to do any filtering right now. And so we've got to take all the oranges and just pull them out one at a time and then do what you're doing.
And the good thing is when you're finished with this, you can use a strainer and a lot, not all, but a lot of the vanilla specks, the caviar will go through that strainer. If you use a coffee filter, it's going to be pure, it's going to be very clean, and it's beautiful. And so that's an option too if you want that. It's a very, very pure looking extract.
We did that with, I think it was the very first one that we made. It was a clear at the end.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. Like to gift that one because it's got that orange like amber. It's a real pretty extract to give away. But the more we've made extracts, the more we like the bits and pieces of the vanilla beans and the other things that are in there.
And I always like to include, maybe, if it's just like a 2-ounce bottle, I always like to have just a little bit of a vanilla bean to put into the extract, just so they know, where this all started.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so really all I'm doing here, I'm using a cocktail, I'm just like a little muddle here, and I'm just kind of pushing this down to get all of the extra vodka and juice that's still in here. You can also use like a potato masher. It depends on how big your strainer is. This works too. But I wanted to show you both so you have the option, or you can just start thinking, hey, what do I have in my cupboard already or my drawers that this will work with? I mean, I love to not have to go buy something new with every new hobby I have. Like I can use something in here and it will work.
Yeah.
So if you've got a cocktail muddler or a masher, you're going to be just fine.
So we're getting all the final bits of juice and vodka, which is all intermingled at this point, so that we can put it back in and cover up the vanilla beans as well as the cacao.
Now,
for the next round,
we can use the peels on this. You could probably make sugar, orange vanilla sugar. You could maybe try to make citrus candy pills with that. If you take all that off and just keep the peel, you'll have a little bit of a cacao vanilla taste to it. That might be interesting.
Yeah. And for those of you, there may be one or two of you that started making yours the same time we did. You're following along. Again, the smell right now in our kitchen is lovely. It's orange and chocolate.
Mhm.
It's just orange and chocolate.
Yeah,
in its
it's
purest form.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So, I've got a little bit out of there. So I'm just gonna pour that right back in. Now, if you want, could you put that in the sink for me? Next to that so they don't mix. If you want, now I don't need this huge jar anymore because all of those oranges are out. I could decant this into, like a smaller quart size jar, or it would fit into that because there's a lot of airspace here. It'll be fine if you leave it in there. But if you're wanting to save room, you don't need to keep it in here. You can use a smaller jar. But take a look at this. I mean, oh my goodness, look at all of the zest, all the vanilla, all that cacao. It just smells so good.
It smells wonderful. And so now we cap it, we park it, we sit on it until when? When's our next party with the orange cacao vanilla extract?
It's supposed to be done in June.
June, it's done. So we will be ready to go.
So I'll switch out my tape here and I'll add the new one. I've got the page number, so if I don't have to go searching, and then I've got my start date on the bottom. Yeah. Do you guys ever feel like a mad scientist in here? I do. Sometimes my hair is all, dolled up at the top, and I've, still got my pajamas on, and I'm in here mixing things, and Paul comes in, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, but it's gonna be great. That's what I love about extracting. There's always something new to try and learn from each other. So I just love this.
It's fun. So one of the things that we talked about with this one is we wanted to make sure it was really orange forward this time. We wanted to go really extra orangey. So one of the things that we talked about that you can do, if you're not picking up enough of the orange, you can add more peels, just making sure that the pith is removed. You can add more zest because you're not adding more moisture, and you're not, lowering the alcohol content. So if orange is what you're looking for, you can add more zest and more peels without pith and let them go for a month. If more cacao is what you're looking for, you add more cacao and let the chocolate come out, or let it extract just a little bit longer. That's fine as well. As we sniffed this before and we were getting prepared, it is so wonderfully orange that our thoughts on adding even more orange, we're not going to add anymore. We think it's absolutely perfect just as it is right now. We love how this one's progressing, so we're not going to be doing anything special.
Yeah, we're going to just follow the recipe,
yep.
and kind of let the cacao and the vanilla go forward a little bit more as we wait.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking, oh, orange cacao vanilla, and then your mind starts going in all these other different directions of all of these flavor combinations that you can make, and it really can be a rabbit hole that you just don't know before you know. You're just way down deep in the extracting world.
And you're never going to be the same again. It changes your life. Holiday season 2016 changed our life. So are there any final questions, comments before we wrap up? We've got a gift we want to give to one of you before we leave. Is there anything outstanding that we should address? Any comments that have come up, Did?
I think we're all set. Yeah.
We are all set. We've got a lot of pros with us today. As I'm going through all the names of everyone that's here, it's so good to just see everyone and be able to spend some time with you. We appreciate it.
It is.
We always try at the end of each one of our workshops to give something away. We want to give a $25 e-gift card. We've been looking at all of the attendees, and we wanted to give, let me just see, because I had it earmarked. And now I don't. Oh, there it is. To Carolyn Kramer. Carolyn, we wanted to say thanks for joining us today. Email us at support@vanillapure.com, and we want to send you a $25 e-gift card to use for vanilla beans, whatever it is that you'd like to start or improve or begin another extract, whatever it is that you're working on. So thanks for being with us today, Carolyn. We appreciate it. A couple of quick things just as we go. One, we're going to do another live. I'll be announcing it later. We'll be doing it with Starlet this coming Friday. So Starlet has got some things that she's been working on, and as we were talking with her, she wants to showcase them, and we want to showcase them. So look for an announcement in our Facebook group about a Zoom that we're going to be doing with Starlet this Friday. And then we've got another workshop already scheduled for our cinnamon coffee spice extract coming up in April. And that's in Eventbrite. So if you search for vanilla pura or cinnamon coffee extract, you'll see us pop up in Eventbrite for April. So we hope to see all of you there for that one. And then a couple more that are in the works. We have a real fun one that we're going to be doing in May that we'll be excited to tell you more about as we get closer to that date. And then maybe one or two others that we were talking to have some more that are going to pop up. But those are on the calendar. Go to Eventbrite, you'll see the next one, and then we'll be announcing the others in our group later today, right?
Yep.
Did I miss anything?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. We do have a little bit of time if we've got like 5 minutes, so we can end the recording here in just a second, Did. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate it. Did's going to end the recording, and then if any of you have any questions or want to chat for a minute, we'd love to chat with all of you.